Irrelephant Bracts. So I'm Anna, and this is James.
Hey everybody, that's me.
And we're pretty excited about this. It's been in the works for a good while now.
Yeah,
a very good
I
while.
would say a few months actually, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to start a podcast for literal years. And then one day, James and I were at my house studying for university and doing all of our assignments. I said, hey, you know what? We should start a podcast. And he went,
Hell yeah!
here we are.
Always. So we're two, I wouldn't even say students, but we're both fresh out of varsity here in South Africa. I just did my BSc degree in zoology and botany.
And I did mine in biochemistry and botany. So both of us have a lot of botanical knowledge.
Yeah, that's too much.
Part of it is that we're not really going to be seeing each other. And we spent the last 3 years seeing each other every day. So this is a good way for us to continue our friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Spend more time together.
But also we're both really passionate about ecology and conservation and interesting plants and animals and all of those really cool things.
Yeah, for me it's also, this is part of a thing of like, I've always enjoyed the animals and the plants and learning about that kind of stuff. And, you know, you always have to watch so many different people to get just normal facts about everything. So for me, this is also like a one-stop place to share as much knowledge as we possibly can and also make it fun at the same time.
We want to make it fun. We will make it fun.
We're going to try.
I've never really seen a podcast that's done both plants and animals together. It's either animals or plants. As James said, a one-stop. And then, I guess, James, seeing as it was your idea, do you want to explain the name?
Oh my goodness. We knew early on that we wanted to make a podcast for plants and animals. And I remember the joke where you ask someone, what is an elephant that doesn't matter called?
Yeah.
Irrelevant. So I was like, that is like so funny for the first word. And then so many other names spitballed and it was just messy, but I don't know. It was like one day randomly, I just thought, wait a minute, I remember learning about bracts in botany, so it was Irrelephant Bracts because it's obviously the pun on elephant facts. Kidding.
Irrelevant facts, yeah. So to kind of, I guess, introduce you to what we're going to be doing. Obviously, we're going to be talking about all the weirdest and wildest and most interesting things that you can find in the wonderful animal and plant kingdoms. But for our first episode, we wanted to kind of pay homage to our name. And so we're going to be doing elephants and bracts for our first episode. Because I'm sure a lot of people do not know what a bract is. Hopefully you know what an elephant is. If you don't, well, you've come to the right place.
I was going to say, you're going to
learn. You'll learn real fast.
Definitely.
All right, are you ready? Do you want to go first? Because you're the first name.
Yeah, I suppose. Let me open this up. Just a bit of background is I'm absolutely obsessed with elephants and the way that they exist. Like literally, these guys are just existing, and I'm in absolute awe. So that's also why I was like, if I'm gonna make a podcast, the name elephant has got to be in it because I absolutely love them. If people don't know what an elephant is, they're the absolutely massive mammals that we find. Mostly in Africa, but there is an Asian variant as well. The African variant is a lot bigger than the Asian.
Yeah, a lot bigger.
But I mean, we're talking some big animals here. I mean, the females weigh up to 4 tons. The males weigh up to 6 tons.
Yeah, 4 tons is like 4 SUVs, isn't it?
I wouldn't say SUV. Yeah, probably actually.
Yeah, my car is 700 kilos, but it's a tin can, so...
Your car's a golf cart. What are you talking tin can?
So yeah, about 4 medium-sized cars.
Yeah, that's just the weight. I mean, they're incredibly huge. Obviously, everyone knows that. Well, everyone who's actually studied biology will know that the elephant's the biggest land mammal on Earth. Absolutely incredible and majestic creatures, though. I mean, the Asian elephants are a little smaller, so their males are about the size of the African females.
Okay.
So they're about the same size there. The ears are a lot smaller due to them not having to deal with...
as much heat.
Yeah, because here in Africa, the sun burns differently, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, an animal that size, I mean, it takes forever for them just to even produce one. A female is pregnant for almost up to 2 years at a time. And after those 2 years, you only get one baby.
Can you imagine carrying a baby for 2 years?
You see, the thing is, the babies come out at 120 kilos. So you have to
I know
nurse
you're
this
not a
thing.
woman. I know you're not a woman. But imagine pushing that thing out of your body.
Yeah, no, 120 kilos
I think I'd
newborns.
just die.
But like the thing is, for me, like the babies are still cute though.
They are.
They're huge. They're massive, but they're so cute.
There is Anna editing this. Put in a clip of a baby elephant getting scared by itself.
Oi. Yo.
They are the cutest things.
Yeah.
If you think cat videos are cute,
Baby elephants.
baby elephant videos are better.
Random extra. Did you know that baby elephants suck on their trunk like humans would suck on their thumb? Like, how cute.
That's so
They literally put their
cute.
trunk in their mouth and they like suck on it for comfort.
That's
Like,
so
absolutely
cute.
adorable.
I actually didn't know that.
It's insane, eh?
They're not human, but there's something so... I think it's probably to do with their intelligence,
Yeah.
but they feel so human in so many ways.
Listen, I mean, they are massive, to be fair. They're the only animal on Earth that can't jump. I mean, their teeth weigh 3 kilos each. And I mean, with this huge size, obviously comes a massive brain. Now, their brain weighs up to 5 kilos. So it's massive.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you're even talking about the intelligence, it's absolutely insane. You know, it's some of the memory that, I mean, you have the saying, you have a memory like an elephant. And that goes a long way because they remember most migration patterns. And like, obviously, I've seen documentaries, you know, David Attenborough fan over here. You watch the elephants, they literally migrate all the way across Africa and they'll go to the same watering holes every single year.
That's crazy.
And the matriarch, the head female of the herd, she's normally the biggest. She will remember the way and she keeps everyone on track.
Yeah, because elephants are a matriarchal herd, not a patriarchal herd.
Yeah, so you'll find that each herd will have one, maybe at max 2 adult males, and they're literally just there to breed. Like, that's all. The females are the ones who do the work, I guess. But the thing is, like, as males come of age, they actually get kicked out of herds. And that's, so when you see a lonely elephant, if you ever decide to explore the bush, just know that that's probably a male. I'm not saying they will always be males, but probably 9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10, yeah.
Because the bulls roam lonely while they look for herds to join and breed. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's also a very... I mean, I don't know if you have this. I might be stealing your information.
No, go for it.
It's also a very clever, if we're going to be a bit more sciencey about it, genetic adaptation that they have.
Yeah.
That way that breeding doesn't only exist within one herd, and they have a lot of inter-herd breeding. And so they can
it also introduces genetic variation.
Yeah, so they can diversify their genetic pool, which is very smart. Don't inbreed, guys. It's very bad.
Don't inbreed.
Don't inbreed.
What a great piece of advice for the audience. But yeah, I mean, elephants, they literally, they use mud as sunblock. So they'll go up to like a bit of water and you'll see an elephant spraying mud over itself. And that's literally just it providing a little bit of more protection for itself to not get too sunburned. I also thought that was incredible. And one thing that also caught my eye was the fact that they mourn each other. So if they're migrating and they come across like an elephant skeleton, they'll all like stand around and they'll literally use their trunks and rub it on the bones to just kind of, you know, give a minute for the dead. And I thought that was absolutely incredible from them.
So yeah, they're really cool. It is cool that they mourn, and I don't know, when they migrate, if they lose one during the migration, which they often do, they like, there's a whole mourning process with that as well,
they'll also hold a funeral. I put in quotation marks for the elephants of their own herd as well. Of course, they don't like to lose members of their own, but sometimes you just do. You know, and unfortunately nature is cruel, and you know, we have adaptations to survive, but Ultimately, population control is a real thing.
Yeah, and it's all about balance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Those are all your elephant facts.
Just
All
a few
right.
of them.
Those are
I'll
all
drop
the
a few more in
irrelevant-
incoming episodes.
Yeah, he will. Elephants will always become relevant when James is around. They will never be irrelevant.
That's my plan. Let's not make elephants irrelevant.
If you're sitting there and you're thinking, what on earth is a bract? In very simple terms, it is a modified leaf. Now, I understand to people who are not planty people, which is most people, I probably say modify leaf and you go, what? Leaves can be modified? I'm not going to get into how cool plants are and their leaf systems and everything, but the easiest way to explain this to you is it's a very small, it's not always small, but it's typically small, leaf that occurs below a flower or a collection of flowers. So if you've ever picked a rose, there's often that tiny little leaf just underneath the rose head. It's just like a tiny little baby leaf just under the rose head. That is a bract, okay? Make sense? You're following, James?
Yeah.
You studied botany.
I'm with you. I also did this for 3 years.
To aid this in editing, I will put a diagram here of pointing at what a bract is.
Yeah.
But I did actually read a very interesting paper, because, you know, I love my research papers, about it's a paper on the adaptations of bracts and why plants develop them. So there's actually a number of really interesting reasons as to why plants have bracts. The adaptive significance remains incomplete, so they don't fully understand why plants have adapted this leaf, and they don't fully understand all the factors that have caused the evolution of the bract.
I mean, yeah, so obviously you'll know more than me, but as far as I understand, bracts obviously have different functions in different plants. So it's also difficult for them to say, okay, evolutionarily this happened to the plant species and that's why it got it, when it's different for all of them.
Yeah.
You know, all of them could have developed it for a different reason, for a different function. So that's the way I understand it.
I mean, 9 times out of 10 of evolution, it's kind of like, this is why we think it happened, but please ignore all these examples that defy that logic.
I mean, that's just science in general.
Yeah.
Because literally, as humans, we group everything. We say it belongs in this group, but there is an exception. Because there's always exceptions, because nature doesn't adhere to our grouping systems.
I'm sure you could guess this, James, but for our lovely listeners/viewers, bracts typically enhance pollinator attraction through a number of reasons, specifically strong visuals, so they can make, we'll talk about it in a minute, they can make a flower or plant look very different, through olfactory, so olfactory just means smells. They can add nice smells, all of those kinds of things. Or echo-acoustic contrast, which I thought was really interesting. But basically, echo-acoustic contrast is it changes the shape of the plant. So organisms that use sound or acoustics to find plants and flowers.
Say like sound vibrations as well.
Sound vibrations, it alters them so the birds, flies, insects, whatever, can find the plant easier. Also, a lot of plants are pollinated by bats. Most people know that bats use echolocation, so all of those kinds of really, really cool things.
Jeez, that's crazy.
They also signal pollinator rewards, right? So pollinators work on a reward system, so they pollinate a plant, they get nectar or food or fruits or seeds or whatever in return for pollinating the plant. But they do this both honestly and deceptively. So they do it honestly by giving them a reward, or deceptively by either there's no reward.
By promising a reward and not giving it.
They trap them. They can trap pollinators. I thought that was cool that they did it both honestly and deceptively. I like the idea that plants are devious. Some plants use their bracts to trap insects inside the flower so that they have more chance of getting pollen stuck on them.
So are bracts like specifically found in one plant family, or is it like all of them?
So we'll get to it because there's a plant genus and a plant family that has very interesting bracts, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But I have a couple of other things that bracts do. Okay. Then we'll talk about.
We're gonna talk about the bracts first.
So they serve for protection, both as warning signals, camouflage, and physical barriers and toxic chemicals. So we'll also talk about a particular family that has toxic chemicals in it. But basically, they serve for protection from herbivores. A lot of bracts can signal to herbivores or insects or whatever, like, don't touch this. I'm dangerous. So we often talk about very colorful things in nature. We often, most organisms register as poisonous. So those little poison Amazon frogs, we can talk about those at another point. They're very colorful. They are very poisonous. So often butterflies are very colorful to try and tell things, don't eat me, I'm poisonous, I'm dangerous. Genuinely, if you find something in nature that is extremely colorful, don't touch it. That's my advice.
That's the cornerstone piece of advice. Just don't touch the colorful things.
And with plants, if a plant is spotty, genuinely avoid it. But plants can also be very deceptive on which ones are poisonous and not.
Yeah.
They also promote seed dispersal. They alleviate abiotic stresses. I thought that was really cool.
Okay.
Such as low temperature, radiation, heavy rain, drought, and mechanical abrasion. So they help to protect flowers. Now, if you don't know much about plants, flowers might only just be pretty things that you buy for your special someone on Valentine's Day, but flowers are actually the cornerstone of plants' survival. Without flowers, well, not all plants, but without flowers on angiosperms, which is a particular class of plants.
The flowering plants, literally.
Without flowers on plants that flower, they would not be able to reproduce. So they're very, very important, and protecting them is very, very important. Green bracts, or bracts that turn green after pollination, which is also cool, they increase photosynthesis for fruit and seed development. Because often...
I was going to say, because it's increasing surface area.
Yeah.
It's more green, so it's more chlorophyll.
And also often fruit and seeds develop as a plant starts to die or lose its leaves.
Yeah.
So then it increases the amount of photosynthesis that it has to obviously produce all the sugars and food that the fruit and seeds need.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to get into some of the interesting bracts. If you're wondering what example of a bract you could look to, there are two very famous examples which might shock you. They are poinsettias, which it's just been Christmas, so I'm sure everyone's been seeing a lot of poinsettias, and bougainvillea, which is a very beautiful vine. If I'm correct, it's from Spanish origin. Mediterranean origin, with these beautiful papery flowers. They come in pinks, reds, purples.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
They're gorgeous. I'll put a picture of poinsettia and bougainvillea. The petals on those plants, the beautiful, colorful petals, are bracts. They are not petals.
Oh, wow.
And the flowers...
That is so cool.
Yeah, the flowers are actually tiny and reduced, and they sit in the middle of the bracts. And so the bracts are these beautiful, colorful...
things.
Yeah, they're these beautiful, colorful parts of the flower, but they're actually not a flower part. They're a bract. And I thought that was really cool. So a lot of people look at it and they'll be like, oh, they have such pretty petals. Bracts. So now you know, next time you see a poinsettia or a bougainvillea, it is bracts. And you can impress all your friends by knowing, or you can annoy them. I typically annoy my friends.
That's true, actually. Just by the way, the bougainvillea comes from Brazil and Argentina.
Oh, I mixed it up. Okay, it comes from South America, not Mediterranean.
Yeah.
You often find it in the Mediterranean, though.
I would just prefer to be correct.
Yeah, no, I would also prefer to be correct.
So if I'm looking at the bougainvillea, right, there's a red or a purple flower. What I would imagine were petals, and then white, cream color coming out of that.
And it kind of...
Are those the flowers?
Those
but
are the flowers.
The pink and purple...
is the bract.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
so...
actually crazy.
I'm gonna say this... but it might confuse some people. Again, I'll put a diagram for those that are not super familiar with flower anatomy. The little white thing that kind of looks like it could be a stigma or a style, or the male, female reproductive parts, is actually the whole flower.
The entire flower.
And I'm pretty sure, small. I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually have any petals. It has either reduced petals or no petals. Which is also very interesting. But poinsettia and bougainvillea, both flowers that have bract petals, not petals. The other family that is also very famous, mostly composed of modified flowers that have a lot of very colorful, interesting bracts, is the Araceae family.
Araceae, okay, yeah.
Fun fact for anyone, if you comment that I'm pronouncing it wrong, every scientist I've ever met pronounces them slightly differently. So, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. Okay, and this family's common name is the arum family. Ever heard of an arum lily?
I was gonna say arum lily is like
Did you know?
super familiar.
This is so crazy. I always thought arum lilies were not indigenous. I found out they were indigenous this year.
To South Africa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I was today years old when I found that.
He was today as well. So yeah, for those, again, arum lily on the screen. For audio listeners, we should also explain these for audio listeners.
Oh,
Sorry, guys. It's fine. I'll try and explain. I did explain the bougainvillea quite well, but...
I was going to say, so did I. Well, I tried.
Yeah, you did try. But I'll explain what arum lilies are, because if you're not from South Africa... Actually, no. Arum lilies are often used in funerals. They're a white flower with this kind of single petal that curves around in this very sort of elegant, fancy... It kind of looks like a really posh dress. Do you know what I mean? Upside down. Yeah, it's like an upside down.
I was going to say, it's
dress.
like a cup.
Yeah, it's like
shape.
a cup shape, and it's got like this sort of spiky bit at the
Yeah,
top.
it starts quite thin.
And in the middle
thick as it
is
goes
this
up.
long pole that is yellow.
Yes, yeah.
It's like a long pole. It kind of looks like a reed almost in the center.
Mm-hmm.
That is an arum lily. They are actually indigenous to South Africa, to sort of the wetlandy areas of South Africa. And they are grown all throughout the world. They're considered very, very beautiful, very, very elegant, and they are often used in funerals because in Western culture, you will have to check what it means in most African cultures. It symbolizes death.
Okay.
Fun. Lilies often symbolize death in a lot of cultures. Don't know why, but they do. So yeah, they are known as the arum families. Interestingly enough, they have 104 genuses. Quite a big family. And 3,300 species approximately.
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big family. A lot of plants in that family.
It says here in Africa they're also
Death.
associated with death and funerals.
No. Cool. Death and funerals. And they actually have a modified flower. So there's two types of flowers. There's a simple flower and an inflorescence. If you ever see like a flower and it's like a long stick and then there's lots of little flowers attached to it, that's an inflorescence. It's just a fancy name for lots of flowers all combined into like one little position. And they have something known as a spadix inflorescence, which basically is just like a pole with lots of tiny little flowers all wrapped around, and it kind of it's often referred to also as like a cattail inflorescence. It kind of looks like a cattail reed.
Okay.
And so this entire family only has spadix inflorescences. That's what makes this family special. And there's some really funky looking ones. Very cool looking flowers in this family. But they also have colorful bracts. And this specialized bract that they have, the arum lily, the white petal that covers, I'm putting that in inverted commas for the audio listeners, that cover the little yellow prong, are actually bracts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So,
I'm just going to be questioning every petal I see now because you're telling me that they're bracts in some of the most common flowers I've ever seen.
Yeah, so they're actually bracts, and they have a special name for these particular bracts.
Yeah.
They're called a spathe.
A spathe.
Spathe.
Oh my goodness.
So this is a special
I'm
bract.
not going to remember that.
It's fine. It's a special bract called a spathe that wraps around the flower.
It's crazy.
Very cool. And something so cool about this flower family is that it's toxic.
The family's flowers.
No, the plant.
The plant.
The
Everything.
plant is toxic.
Oh, mhm.
So we often talk about in botany that if it's milky, don't touch it. Don't eat it, don't touch it, don't go near it. If it has a milky sap,
Okay.
9 times out of 10, it's poisonous. But yeah, so basically for the chemists of the world, they have oxalate compounds, as well as proteases. One paper I briefly scanned over said something about like they're not actually sure if the oxalate compounds are actually causing the allergic reactions that a lot of people have to this family.
So
Anyway,
proteases, those
Proteases. They
are enzymes that digest proteins.
Yeah, so enzymes, wow, this is so fun. Enzymes are like compounds.
Well, enzymes are proteins.
They're proteins. The way a lot of people conceptualize proteins is not what most proteins are.
Yeah.
Proteins are some of the most important molecules in your body. Sorry, the biochemist in me is really coming out now. Because enzymes are proteins, and enzymes are proteins that catalyze or speed up chemical reactions in your body. So when your body takes the potato that you ate and turns it to energy, that process is controlled and made possible by enzymes, right? Proteases are a special group of enzymes that break down other proteins. They cleave them. That's the scientific word that we use for it.
Yeah, it's pretty much break them.
Break them down. They just like crush them up.
Just thought we'd make it simple.
They beat them up in the gym.
They beat them up.
Yeah, they beat them up. And
the protein tuned his girlfriend, so
yeah,
now he's got to beat him up.
Oxalate is just oxalic acid. So if you ever hear something like citrate, and then you hear some people call it citric acid, they're the same thing. If it has "ate" at the end, it just means it's an acid.
Okay.
Fun fact of the day. We've had a lot of fun facts.
I was gonna say there's all.
They also have something in it called rapids, which are also toxic. And rapids, I lied. They are toxic, but rapids are calcium or carbonate oxalate in these long, thin needle-like structures.
So this is in
Araceae family.
Araceae. Okay, we're going back to Araceae. I'm just making sure we know where we are.
And then to round off, I've been talking for eons. Then to round off, the last species, which is a really cool species, not species, genus, I lied, is the Acanthus genus. Again,
Sounds familiar.
For those of you that are listening,
familiar.
How do I explain this? So they have really interesting flowers. They've got kind of big leaves that kind of form like a little bush at the bottom. And then they have these long pillory flowers that kind of stick right up. And their flowers, oh my God, how do I explain this? They're kind of flat on the top. And then they've got this sort of like tongue petal that sticks out and then a scoop on the bottom. The most famous species of them is green, purple, and white. Okay? For the lovely visual watchers, you'll get a picture. For the audio listeners, that's the best you're gonna get.
If you're still confused,
it's kind of like a clam flower, right? And the purple part that folds over the top is a bract.
Oh my goodness.
So
no, like seriously.
So yeah, a lot of the Acanthus species genus, they all have these kind of weird, funky looking clam tongue flowers. That's a great descriptor. And yeah, they're also bracts. Very, very cool.
They also have bracts.
They also have bracts, and it's
nice.
the top little. They're sometimes green, they're sometimes purple. I think even in some of the species, they're sometimes like red or pink.
Yeah. Are there any other examples, or
there's a lot of examples?
So like
I didn't put all of them.
It's just this grouping has the most interesting bracts.
Yes,
so,
and because they have the spathe, and then the acanthus also has like the weird clam flowers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot. So
there's a lot of different plants with bracts.
Plants are devious,
which I'm sure we'll bring up if we speak about any of those plants. We'll say bracts and
bracts.
He said the name.
Well, now we have to do the end bit, which is the bit where we ask them for stuff. Do you know what we asked them for?
What are we asking them for?
If you're watching this on the U of the tube, please like and subscribe.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna be those people, aren't we?
Yeah. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star review or not. If you don't like it,
you can give stars on
Spotify. Only on Podcast.
Oh, on Apple, okay.
No, on Spotify and on Apple, but only on Podcast.
Crazy.
Yeah, you can review.
Okay, yeah, 5 stars, please, guys.
Please give us 5 stars. It really helps the algorithm. I know we're very new, but this is mostly just going to be our family and friends watching / listening. But please do.
Just for now.
Please do give us a good review. If you do not give us 5 stars, please be honest about your review. Tell us why. We do want to improve. We do want to get better.
Yeah, of course. Constructive criticism is welcomed.
We really do welcome constructive criticism. Criticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, please, it really does help. It's a really easy way to support us if you enjoy this. And
see you for episode 2, guys. Thanks for watching.
Catch you for episode 2. Thank you for watching or listening.
If you've made it this far, like genuinely, thank you for listening to this.
Yeah, thank you.
Watching this far in.
Yeah, and we hope you see an elephant or a bract in your coming week.
And think about us.
And think.
Cheers.